Hi, this is Wes Lukosius from the Hammond Sports Hall of Fame 29th Annual Induction Dinner here on the campus of the Hammond Civic Center, the home of the Hammond Sports Hall of Fame, and I'm pleased to be joined by one of the inductees of the class of 2015, Dr. Tony Milazzo. Dr. Milazzo, welcome and congratulations on your induction tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well, I've been reading about you, and you've had an interesting career, both athletically and professionally, and we want a chance to talk about both of them. But first of all, tell us about your years at Hammond High. You played football, you played baseball, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about any particularly fond memory of your years at Hammond High?
Oh, yes. The most interesting bit of fun that I had when we played East Chicago Roosevelt in football. Excuse me. We beat them, and it was the first. We stopped their 15-game winning streak, and in the write-up in the newspaper, they said they called me the fifth man in Roosevelt's backfield, and Pete Rosinski, the coach of Roosevelt at the time, invited me to come to their award ceremony. And when he introduced me to all of the Roosevelt people, he said, it's only fitting that Tony Milazzo, who's really the fifth man in our backfield, should be here.
So a Hammond High football player got invited to an East Chicago Roosevelt awards dinner.
Right.
Yeah, well, that speaks volumes then for the impact that you had. What position were you playing for Hammond High?
I played offense and defense, center on offense and middle linebacker on defense.
So you had quite a game that night at East Chicago.
Yeah, they said I made more than 80% of the tackles.
Oh, my goodness. What a night. What a night.
Really.
And you played football and also baseball.
Right.
And what position did you play on the baseball field?
Catcher, first and third.
Catcher, first and third.
Right, but my senior year, I pretty much played first base.
Okay, so you were a graduate of Hammond High in what year?
1951.
1951. Now, I also understand that you played for a state championship American Legion baseball team.
Yes, the 1950 champs. We had a great season. And we had a long time winning streak in baseball, but it was a thrill to win that state championship.
I suspect.
Although I did, in one game I especially remember, because with 2 men on base, this was in one of the semifinal games, with 2 men on base, I was a cleanup hitter. I hit a double, scored them, and that was enough to win the game.
We're talking with Dr. Tony Milazzo, who is a member of the class of 2015 of the Hammond Sports Hall of Fame. We're talking to him just prior to the induction dinner. And Dr. Milazzo, you went on to compete in college, and as I understand, you received a scholarship to go to Indiana University. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And so you were there for a period of time, but then you transferred. Is that right?
Right. I was there my freshman year, and this was for the NCAA. It was the first year they tried freshmen to be eligible for the varsity, and I made the team that year, and I was scheduled to be the starter in my sophomore year.
Now, this was football?
This is football, right. And but I found that if I continued playing Big Ten football, I was going to have trouble making the grades that I needed to help my academic career. So I thought about that, and I had some qualms about it, because I didn't want to let the Hammond fans be disappointed, because they were looking for me to do well in college. But I talked with Harold Pat Patterson, who was the baseball coach And I admired him both as a teacher as well as a coach. And I came back here to Hammond, and I talked with him for 3 or 4 hours, and he helped me to see that my decision to change to the smaller school where I could play ball, both baseball and football, and I wouldn't disappoint people. And at the time, he went to John Whitaker, told him about my issues here, and John wrote a real nice article about me and my future.
So you went on and you competed at Indiana State University and played 2 sports,
right.
And went on and actually then you continued your education and became a doctor of education. Is that correct?
Special education and school psychology.
And tell us about that career, because as I was reading about your career, you were very highly regarded, respected in your field, and special education was your specialty field. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And school psychology.
Okay. And what positions did you hold in addition to school psychologist? You were with the State of Indiana Department of Education, is that correct?
Yes, and I was a teacher of the handicapped in Flint, Michigan, and then they asked me to come back to Indiana State and be a demonstration teacher in a special class for multiple handicap, which I did. Then they asked me to come to Indianapolis and at the State Department of Indiana Department of Special Education to be the director of that. And then from there I got a call from Washington after a couple of years. And they wanted me to come out right after the passing of the elementary and secondary education as a consultant to help them start the new effort in behalf of the disadvantaged and handicapped kids.
So you were very much a trailblazer in the field of education with regard to special needs students. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I hope so.
Very good. We've been talking with Dr. Tony Milazzo, member of the 2015 Hammond Sports Hall of Fame induction class. Dr. Milazzo, we welcome you here tonight back home in Hammond, here at the Civic Center, and congratulate you on your induction, and please have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much.
Tony Milazzo, our guest tonight. I'm Wes Lukosius, and looking forward to talking to you again at another time, and we'll turn things back over to Jed.